Say hi, Joey only.
Hi, Joey.
Hi, Joey. Say hi, Joey only.
Hi.
I'm Frank O'Dowd. You're listening to Comedy Meteorological Weather Report every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. Joey only is to run a podcast called Terrible Weather to Comedian plus Meteorology. Joey only is a really nice guy. He's a really, really nice guy. He does the weather for, he's a firefighter of Wales, British Columbia, fights fires and things like this. He used to work for Vancouver Giants Western Hockey League. Joey only is a really nice guy, and I'm on his show. It's on CFUR 88.7 FM in Prince George, CKUW 95.9 FM in Winnipeg, and CFBX 92.5 FM in Kamloops. And the Joey only shows on Shaw Spotlight TV and Shaw Television all across the entire country of Canada. Best of luck to you. I'm Frank O'Dowd. You're listening to Joey only show every Thursday night at 11 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Say hi, Joey only.
Hi.
Say hi, Joey only.
Hi, Joey.
Well, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, Frankie's got the weather we got. Wait a minute. Well, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, Frankie's got the weather or not. There it is.
Good morning, Prince George, and good afternoon, Winnipeg. We are back. It's been 2 weeks.
Be prepared.
I know, you probably missed us. It was April Fool's last week, so we just replayed an old show. You know, why would we do... Anyways, I'm Joey, only up here in Wells, British Columbia. I am your host of the Comedeorological Report. Comedy plus meteorology equals Comedeorology. It's your show about how much the weather sucks in Canada. And it does suck indeed. It's been pretty brutal for a wide swath of the country this week that went through freezing rain and thunderstorms and snow and everything all at once. Here in British Columbia, we're about to take one on the chin because we got snow moving on in, especially on Sunday when it breaks into the interior. That's what's going on. I'm here with my panel of Comedeorologists. That's Frankie McDonald, number one. He's the man. He's the star of the show. He's out in Sydney, Nova Scotia, standing around outside, and he's got the weather from around the world. He'll be with us in 1 minute. Then we got our weather specialist, Brandon Houck in Brooks, Alberta. And we got Imogen Cookie Bailey, who's down there in Victoria, and my friend Hilding Donaldson, who was just here a couple days ago. So it's good to see him again already. Right on. That's the show. I'm Joey only. Okay, CKW. Okay, Cipher. Let's go.
Frankie, the weatherman. Frankie, the weatherman. Who? Frankie. Who? Frankie. Ladies and gentlemen, Frankie.
Hello, Frankie McDonald. How you doing so far, buddy?
I'm doing great so far. Did you hear about this? The Montreal, Quebec had a lot of freezing rain. There's a major power outage going on in Montreal, including Base Guy's neighborhood. As of 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Base Guy lost his power, and Base Guy still got no power in Montreal because freezing rain is so bad it's going to get colder temperatures on Good Friday and Saturday. It's going to warm up next week in Montreal, Quebec, where Base Guy is at. It's going up to 20 degrees Celsius possible next week where he's at. It's going to bring the cold temperatures in Montreal on Good Friday and Easter Saturday, and where Base Guy is at, but Montreal has no power from the major freezing rainstorm. Montreal had it back on Wednesday. It was very cold still. Montreal Base Guy had no power. It was really bad.
So is Base Guy going to have a show tomorrow or what?
We still don't know yet. It could be canceled because due to ice storm in Montreal.
Well, I hope he was prepared
The
for
city
the
Nova
ice storm.
Scotia is going to get really cold for Easter weekend as well. In Vancouver, British Columbia is getting a lot of rain on Good Friday and Easter Sunday as well. It's going to bring a whole lot of rain to Vancouver, British Columbia as well. Hydro Quebec is fixing up power in Quebec. It's really, really bad there. Getting rid of some of the broken tree branches and things like this in Montreal. It was so bad. And Kazakhstan, a standard Kazakhstan is going to get really cold weather on Good Friday and Easter Saturday. But their Easter is not till next weekend.
Right. Did you hear the good news, Frankie?
Yeah.
We've been approved by Shaw Spotlight for TV. I think the show's a go. I think.
And did you hear about this? It's been a lot of bad weather going on in the States, lots of tornadoes in Arkansas and things like this. That's where another guy, Sam Namel, the guy who runs the Don the Mantis podcast, he lives in Arkansas. He had a lot of severe thunderstorms lately. Missouri had a lot of severe thunderstorms, and California is gradually drying up for a lot of rain we had for the last few months in Los Angeles and surrounding areas.
Yeah. So is the bad weather why Sam's not doing his podcast anymore?
Sam is still doing his podcast, Don Mantis. Sam Namo.
Okay. I get so confused, Frankie. There's so many people out there. What's going on in
Sam
South
Namo
America?
from New York City. Sam Dawkins from Arkansas. Two different Sams. Sam Dawkins, he's the guy running the Don Mantis podcast. Sam Namo, he used to do Reckless Average Radio. Sam Namo is no longer on social media. He doesn't do Reckless Average Radio anymore. He told me that today.
Okay, well, that's good because there's too many Sams. He voluntarily just one less Sam. Frankie, what's going on in South America right now?
A lot of thunderstorms and rain in Venezuela, Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, and those places. And it's really, really dry weather. Northern Chile, bring a lot of thunderstorms in Brazil, including capital Brazil, Brasilia as well. It's going to bring the stormy weather up in the United Kingdom and Scotland next week. It's going to bring lots of rain and wind in Scotland, England, Ireland. Possible snow up in the mountains in United Kingdom as well. It's going to bring lots of snow and rain. Norway, Finland, and Sweden's warming up too. Additional airport that Pakistan is getting really cold weather. New Zealand's supposed to getting cooler right now because it's fall here there. Lots of thunderstorms and rain in Indonesia right now. And it's really getting really hot in India because their summer is here. And they're getting really, really rainy and thunder, lightning, and thunderstorms in Mozambique, Madagascar, those places, including Congo, Uganda, Kenya, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, Angola, and all these countries.
What about Australia, Frankie? Is there anybody there?
There's a lot of Andy Dowling. He's a musician in Australia. He's in the autumn right now.
Excellent. What videos have you made this week, Frank?
I just did a new video about very cold air headed towards Kazakhstan tomorrow. It's going to get really cold on Saturday in Kazakhstan. I did a forecast for them. This is Frankie McDowell, my own TV station live in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Real cold weather's headed towards Kazakhstan on Friday, April 7th, 2023. The temperature's going to be really, really cold once again since a strong cold front that's going to reach all the way to Kazakhstan, including Astana, Kazakhstan on Friday, April 7th, 2023. Temperature's going to turn really cold once again, and Astana, Kazakhstan and surrounding areas as well. And Astana, Kazakhstan is going to bring really cold temperatures. And since the cold front's going to go through Kazakhstan, it's going to erase the warm air. And Kazakhstan, including Astana, Kazakhstan, and temperatures going to bring really cold temperatures. I urge everyone in Kazakhstan to dress very warm, wear warm clothes. It's going to bring really cold temperatures starting on Friday, April 7th, 2023 in Kazakhstan, including Astana, Kazakhstan. I want every single person to be prepared since the temperature is going to be really cold in Kazakhstan once again. If anybody live in Kazakhstan, be prepared for very cold weather on Friday, April 7th, 2023. Take care, stay safe. Don't get too cold. Then I got a really bad heat wave in Egypt this Saturday coming. In Cairo, Egypt, it's going to get really hot weather. In Cairo, Egypt, Pyramids, Egypt, and Alexandria, Egypt, and Gaza, Egypt, is going to get really, really hot weather because the warm air comes all the way from Ethiopia and Sudan.
So, out of curiosity, Frankie, how hot can it get inside a pyramid?
It can get pretty hot there because it's inside. No air conditioning, no heat pump inside the pyramids in Egypt.
Just lots of skeletons and mummies?
It was built by slaves a long time ago.
I would think that the big rock walls, and it might be actually quite cool inside the lower levels of the pyramids.
And that means that inside the pyramid, it could be a chance of cool because it's in the middle of the pyramid.
What about the mummies?
That's a long, 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 long time ago, wrapped around.
Well, to be fair, for the mummies to be as dried and desiccated in the condition that they are, it would require very cool, very dry conditions. So Joey does make a good point about the temperature being quite low inside the pyramids. Up at the very peak, it would get quite hot because it's, a lot of smaller mass up there, but quite lower down, it would be very well insulated. And they do have all those chambers which will trap the cool air in there to give that internal insulation as well as the stone insulation. So in the lower levels, it's likely to be quite cool and smell bad. Just saying, I don't think mummies smell very good.
And did you hear about this? Antarctica is starting to get darker now because it's their fall of the year. Once next month comes, they'll be dark for 24 hours a day in Antarctica. Later in May, There'll be light 24 hours a day up in the Arctic.
And that's when the aliens come out of all different sorts.
Yeah, hopefully the penguin aliens. But I do have an Antarctic specific question for Frankie, Antarctica, I should say. How many SAMs have been in Antarctica?
There's lots of penguins and a lot of seals there.
But are any of them named Sam? This is a crucial question.
There could be some Sams, like a scientist.
How many Sams?
There's a lot of Sams around the world.
Well, in Antarctica specifically, I would say between 3 and 7 at any given time, only amongst the scientist community. As far as penguins go, that'd be a little bit different. I feel like Sam isn't a popular name with the penguins.
In the United States, there's apparently 53,870 people named Sam.
Is that all
There's
of them
a lot
from
of-
Samuel?
There's a lot of guys named Sam out there around the world. Sam Duncan, he's the guy with Donna Mantis podcast, and the other Sam Namo, he no longer do his podcast called Reckless Average Radio.
With 52,000 Sams, you gotta cut it down just a few. And
And if they all yelled at the same time, it'd be pretty loud, pretty obnoxious, really.
if all the Sams in the United States yelled at the same time, it would create a deafening sound wave.
You think so? That's not a lot of people across that large landmass. I mean,
52,000?
Well, yeah, but spread across the area of the U.S. I mean, 8 in my neighborhood can barely hear each other. So 52,000 spread across that area. Now, if we put them all in one space, that'd be different. That would just be a really bad concert. But
Well, this show is for all the 52,000 people in the United States named Sam. Welcome, Sams. That's a lot of Sams. I guess I should talk. I'm Joe,
That's
but I
too
want to be
many.
Joey because it's like, there's probably less Joeys than there is Joe. Joey, Joe. Any last questions for Frankie McDonald today about the weather, the world, anything? What about outer space, Frankie? We forgot to talk about outer space. What's going on in outer friggin' space?
I think of sun's kicking up the high gear, shooting all the solar flares from the sun. Then it got the total solar eclipse heading right for Sydney, Nova Scotia on Monday, April 8, 2024. When the moon crosses over the sun, it gets dark in the middle of the day. Imogen will be there. Base Guy will be there. Who else will be there? Gary and Dino Show will be there. Jason Marshall, we don't have cookies. Roger, the Wild Child Guy, and Trey Cable and all those guys are going to be there. A lot of podcast people are going to be there.
it is also worth noting that in the last couple of weeks, we did have a pretty cool planetary alignment. 5 planets were all lined up and visible. So we did have a brief moment where, from the West Coast here at least, that was a visible event. Not a very common thing that we have. So it was pretty cool to see.
All the astrology people were just losing their minds like, oh, Mercury's in retrograde.
Everyone was having feelings. A lot of hippies having feelings about planets or blaming the planets for their feelings. Instead of just saying, hey, that's kind of cool. Let's appreciate it for a moment. The world and the universe is full of really wild phenomena. And when you're fortunate enough to see something uncommon, just take a minute and appreciate it. Don't blame it on your feelings. Just enjoy the moment.
The planets aligned, and now Trump is arrested.
What?
I don't know. I don't believe in astrology.
Events.
I don't believe in things like I used to. Remember, there was a time when I was young that I believed in things, and I still kind of believe in them, but I just don't care so much anymore. I don't believe in astrology, though. I never did.
Bitter,
So that's
jaded,
not one
and
of those
apathetic. This is our host, Joey Only.
I'm not apathetic. I'm poor.
Despite having just explained how you don't care about anything anymore, you do realize that's the definition of apathy, right?
I turned 44 next week.
Hey, Joey, your birthday's on April 17, 2023 from Frank Down. Don't forget.
I'm
What's
45.
going on? What going on in the outside world do I need to care about here in Wells, really? Besides the weather, right, Brandon?
I've been
I used to-
45 like 3 times, and I blame nothing in my life on my age.
I
Other
feel
than
like
those
I'm,
daily moments where I go, I should know better because I'm almost 100. Those are the moments where I blame my age for not, where I say I should know better because of my age.
I don't have a lot of those. I don't have a lot of those moments because I do know better. I mean,
Okay, to be fair, I have been laughing at you a lot this episode. This
yeah. See,
is a little uncharacteristic of me.
I know. I see. It's like when you think I'm miserable when I'm actually being.
Your misery
funny.
brings me joy. I'll
I
just
was
throw it out there.
actually being funny when I was
Your suffering makes me laugh.
actually being funny. Brandon Hauk, help me change the conversation, weather specialist.
The Brandon Hauk Report.
Oh, hi. This is the Brandon Hauk Report. This is the Brandon Hauk Report. And this week on the report, we are talking about severe weather that continues across the United States. Over the last couple of weeks, we've had some significant tornadoes touching down in Iowa, extending down to Arkansas, and especially one in Little Rock, Arkansas, caused some significant damage back on Friday, the 31st of March. And then a couple of weeks earlier, we had a significant tornado touchdown in Rolling Fork, Mississippi, which was rated at high-end EF4. So that's been the situation there. And we have yet another round of severe weather expected on Tuesday, April the 4th, where we have moderate risk of severe thunderstorms once again in the usual spots, parts of Iowa, parts of Arkansas, and we could be dealing with long track nighttime tornadoes that could be significant and damaging at least here. So that's the situation there. The same storm system, the Colorado low, that will impact Ontario with a significant icing event into Wednesday in areas around the Ottawa Valley, extending into southern Quebec there, and as well as significant snowfall through northwestern Ontario, extending through southern Manitoba, and near blizzard conditions possible. And southern Ontario Wednesday could also be dealing with severe thunderstorms this week. Now, the other
Why are they leaving?
thing we got to talk about. Oh, yes, as we go into more lighter side of news here. Oh, yes. I wouldn't say lighter side, but yeah, some wild stories to share with you. The city of Regina, Saskatchewan, Tourism Regina, has decided to change their name to Experience Regina. Experience Regina! And as you know, it is the city that rhymes with fun, you know, right? Right. Okay, also, did you know, scientists have, discovered that they can make animals from the past and turn it into meat or something. So they decided to bring back the woolly mammoth meat. Apparently, it tastes like chicken, obviously. And also, a man in Louisiana decided to pee in the dispenser where everybody gets their water supply there. Well, he was fired from that job, but actually, eventually he was immediately hired by Mountain Dew. And finally, yes, somebody in Arizona decided to steal Dairy Queen's big spoon, 15-foot spoon. It was found earlier today in a football field, and the suspect, police say the suspect was a dish. And that's the Brandon Hauk Report.
The Brandon Hauk Report.
Oh, hi.
So we had all kinds of stuff going on this week. It was like just chaos across all of Canada, from pretty much from Brandon, Manitoba, straight on to Manitoba to Newfoundland and to Mexico.
Oh, yeah. Lots of weather. Lots of cool weather. See this egg I have here? See that egg? Yeah. It's nice.
I can't see it.
Oh, it's right here.
Are you trying to do magic tricks?
Trying to do magic tricks, yes.
Oh, dear.
It's table tennis day today, so I decided I got a ping pong ball.
It's a ping pong ball, and he's pretending that it's an Easter egg.
I won a ping pong tournament once. Did you know that? In California at a resort, and I won a chocolate bar. Wasn't that awesome?
That's a big tournament, man. So yes, talk to us about how bad that storm was that Frankie mentioned earlier.
Oh yeah, it was a pretty nasty storm, an unbelievable storm. It had everything but the kitchen sink in this low pressure system this week. We had fires in Oklahoma, severe fires, because we had very strong winds gusting over 100 kilometers an hour, and you had relative humidity at 20%. And that was just fuel for fire to break loose. We had a few wildfires. One get really close to a community called Weatherford, Oklahoma, and they had to evacuate the town there because of a fire. But luckily, the town escaped that major fire, and the crews were able to get the fire out before the fire got to town. So that was the situation with the fire. And then we had quite a few tornadoes in Iowa. Once again, this is like their second tornado outbreak throughout parts of Iowa into Illinois. Had one
And well, we didn't mention because we weren't on last week Thursday, but last week Friday was ridiculous for tornadoes.
Oh yeah, I'd say at least over 60 reports of tornadoes last week Friday. Not as many this week, but yeah, it's been a wild couple of weeks here, and most of the tornadoes actually this week actually went on overnight as well. So I missed a couple of them, but yeah, there's quite. It wasn't as active this week as it was last week. So I'm kind of more thinking about last week there, but with the tornadoes, but still is quite active. We had hail size of baseballs with some of these storms, and one storm itself started at 8 a.m. in the morning there, and it produced baseball-sized hail and wind gusts over 130 kilometers an hour, and that also did some damage to the tract out of Iowa into Illinois there.
Baseball season has begun.
That's right. Baseball season's begun. And then the same system moved into the Great Lakes, and there were a couple severe thunderstorms that moved through southern Ontario. Windsor got up to 20 degrees. Got up to 24 degrees. So the first place that got to 20 degrees this season in Canada. Wyerton, Ontario broke a rainfall record for the month of April, over 60 millimeters of rain due to training thunderstorms that occurred there. And quite a bit of thunderstorms. CN Tower got struck by lightning quite a few times on, I'd say, that would be Wednesday morning there. And then the ice storm. We had thunder and lightning with the freezing rain from Sudbury into Ottawa, Montreal, and at least 10 to 12 hours of freezing rain that caused the significant icing and over 1 million people without power, and still many, many people without power in Ontario and into Quebec as well. Which
is unfortunate because it's going to really affect our viewership this week. It was quite miraculous when it first kind of kicked off at 2 a.m. Wednesday morning, and you could see it. It was like Sudbury had the thunderstorms were kicking up, right there by Elliott Lake coming through there, and then freezing rain hitting into Sudbury and lightning and snow just to the north of that, just beyond Capriol, and it was just like everything at once in one radar shot. It was quite a sight to behold.
Yeah,
it's Thursday, April 6th. I forgot to mention at the top of the hour. So just for everyone knowing, if we're going to start talking predictions, remember that we're predicting days in advance of anything. So I got a pretty good idea that BC is going to get some good snow in the interior on Sunday. And you're getting warm weather in Alberta. What's going on in Manitoba?
Well, Manitoba, we had that same storm system. So this is, as you mentioned, it's a very big storm system. So a lot of snow, blowing snow, I believe. Pinawa, Manitoba got 25 centimeters of snow. Winnipeg around 14 centimeters of snow this past week. So pretty good dosage of snow, along with the strong winds, and that caused blowing snow and highway closures as well throughout Manitoba. So that was the story there. And then as we go through the weekend here, we're going to start off the Easter long weekend below average in the temperature side of things. And then as we go on into next week, we'll finally start seeing those temperatures start to recover, all depending on the amount of snow that you have on the ground, because that could also, it could ruin your temperature forecast for the day if you still have a lot of snow on the ground. And I've seen some forecasts going with 18, 19 degrees next week, but I don't think it's going to get that high just yet across parts of Saskatchewan because Manitoba, because of the amount of snow that's still on the ground. So you might get to double digits for the first time this year and around Winnipeg, and probably about Wednesday of next week. So that's going to be, it's going to take some time, but it will eventually warm up in the eastern prairies, probably not as fast as the western prairies here, where we're going to be dealing with the westerly flow Chinook conditions, kind of textbook Chinook conditions through the weekend into early next week. And probably by Monday of next week, we could be at 20 degrees for the first time since October in Alberta, which is going to be quite a treat. So it's pretty much our reward while BC takes it on the chin for the next few days here with the unsettled weather and potential for 100 millimeters of rain in Tofino by next week.
They're looking at my long range forecast here in Wells. There's no significant change in temperature for the next 2 weeks expected here.
Yeah.
And that's maybe, I live at 4,000 feet above sea level. So definitely I went down to Quesnel today and I seen that there was no snow in the ground. And I thought, whoa. So for anybody who doesn't know out there, I live in Wells, British Columbia, 4,000 feet above sea level, 3,935 feet above sea level right here at my house in my chair. And so because of that, in the Caribbean Islands, we've got the rainforest just on the other side, which, everyone's trying to log and destroy as fast as they can. Anyways, it's there, and it makes this place really, really precipitous. And if you want to just have a look out my window here, what do we got here? So there's still snowbanks that are well taller than my truck up and down the street. That's what I live in Wells here, and it'll be like that for some time here. It's a slow melt. This week had World, or is it National or World Autism Day?
Yeah, it is. I'd say, kind of World Autism Day. Yeah, that was on the 2nd of April. Every year on the 2nd of April, it's Autism Awareness Day. That's what it is, Autism Awareness Day. And I did something about, what would it be? It'd be 2016-ish. Yeah, 2015, 2016, around there. This is right at my beginning of my radio career here in beautiful Brooks, Alberta. That was the first time I actually told my story to the public. So nobody knew about it until 2016, that I was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3. And I was nonverbal till the age of 5. That has definitely changed since then. As now you can be quiet now on the radio. So I've kind of kept it quiet ever since. I haven't really said that. And then I told my story for the first time in 2016, and I actually did some fundraising for autism awareness back in 2016. And if I raised this amount of money, I would dye my hair blue. And I did that. I dyed this full hair blue for awareness. And then I buzz cut it off, and wow, did I look weird back then.
People were certainly aware of you, at least.
Right. You have photos. Documentation.
I have good photos from there. The process of dyeing it, I went all blonde, and it looked really creepy. I looked like Homer Simpson in the chair there, and then all of a sudden I came out looking like Marge Simpson.
Wow. That is an impressive transition.
It was a transition, that's for sure.
You are a human cartoon. This is one thing we absolutely adore about you, is that you are a walking, living, breathing cartoon.
Yeah.
Well, excellent. I just thought I'd give you a chance to speak to that. Frankie, is there anything you want to say about Autism Awareness Day?
That means it's a day for autistic people and things like this. Everyone's the same. According to Kim Peek, from way back then, you don't have to be handicapped to be different. Everybody's different. According to Pink Peek, a long time ago.
I fully agree. And that's what this show's about. As everyone who knows me knows, I'm not the normalest guy, and I didn't want to make a show full of normal guys, right? So here we all are talking and being open and honest, as we are. So hope all you viewers out there and listeners take some solace in the fact that Frankie and Brandon, this is where they've come to after going through a period of their life being nonverbal. I want to speak to my own major depression I go through and PTSD and whatnot. And I do my best. And I find as I get older, I'm doing better and better. And I'm enjoying my life in a lot of ways these days. So
there is no disability. There is rather better abilities.
Hilding Donaldson, and seeing as you spoke, Hilding Donaldson, you've been all over BC. Talk to us about your trip up and down.
Well, I left last week, and of course I stopped in to see you, Joey, and then I went down to Penticton to a arts and music festival. There's a lot of interesting people down there that I knew and some that I didn't, and I made some good friends. Crossed over the mountains a couple places and went through some really unique little squall storms that just looked like they were going to be terrible, but they weren't, which is what happens this time of year, I guess, in BC. So, yeah, and it was, roads were basically pretty good. It was a nice time to travel, actually. And
when you were here, we went to the bush. What did we do?
Well, we went up one of the logging roads till we got to a nice valley where we could look across and see the northern lights. And that was a real epic night. I really enjoyed that. And
yeah, we didn't get too long of a show that night before it faded, but we got there just in time, and the view out towards Bowron itself is just fan-friggin-tastic. So what's it like in Grassy Plains right now? For people who don't know, their Grassy Plains is sort of south Burns Lake a little ways. And Burns Lake, if you don't know, is sort of, west of Prince George. And Prince George, if you don't know, well, then, come on. You don't know where Prince George is? It's huge.
BC.
It's huge.
Yeah.
How can you not know?
Population 30.
80,000.
Well, okay, but it's so
Giant.
spread out, you don't see anyone.
Yeah. But you asked what it's like here. It didn't freeze last night, and today it was partially cloudy and a little bit of sun and some gusty wind and real funny looking clouds all over the place. It's just really, well, it's the queer springtime weather we get,
Hildon's got the funny looking clouds.
Yep.
Yeah, I had some lenticulars around here earlier today. They were pretty nice. What about down in Victoria? Imogen, what do you got for funny looking clouds?
Scattered clouds as usual. Blue sky, scattered clouds, lots of ocean as far as the eye can see, thriving rainforest, hippies everywhere under rocks and things. This week we've got highs of 12, lows of 3, which is a couple degrees warmer than it was last week and the week before. It's starting to gradually warm up, but still little bits of dampness here and there, a little bit spongy.
I think this graphic is so cool.
No tornadoes. No sharknadoes.
No sharknadoes. I think this graphic is so cool because we were talking about this earlier. You really see the rain shadow, and this is just typical.
Yeah.
You got Victoria down here, and everyone's all happy, and they're old, and they're happy and old, and they're eating nice food, and there's a nice sunset going on right now, and they're sipping their wines and eating their fancy food and doing what people in Victoria do. And look at this. And all the Olympic mountain ranges just says no, Victoria, nothing for you. And then it all goes straight to Richmond and straight to Vancouver. And then the people up here in Surrey are just getting rained on, and they're trying to walk somewhere, and they're mad because their feet are wet. And it's like that often. This is a very typical radar. Don't you think, Brandon? This is sort of a typical radar feed you might see.
Oh, yeah.
Really demonstrates what I'm saying. Like when I'm always saying it's really mild, moderate weather. This is why we have the population that we have, is because we are the exception to this. All around this area is where everyone else gets the more difficult weather. They have more challenging events. We have scattered clouds, blue skies, mild, calm, everything. So that's why it's a retirement city. We have a lot of people with diverse abilities here because it's easier to live here because of the weather systems.
You have a lot of people who can afford the price of property.
We actually have a really visible division between rich and poor here. We've had a lot of tent cities pop up. We do have tremendous property. It's impacted tourism in some ways. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but there's a lot more going on here than you would expect. But Victoria has been listed as one of the third most difficult cities in terms of cost of living in Canada. And I believe that was Maclean's magazine who put that together. But I'm quite possibly incorrect on that. Regardless.
So the cost of living in Wells is low. I mean, I have to go to town to get any substantial groceries. But the thing is, once I'm here, I don't really spend money. I go to Diggy's Diner once in a while and treat myself. There's not much to spend money on here, right? So I don't have to pay for parking. I don't have to pay for...
Yeah, rural versus metropolitan lifestyle is very different for sure. And that's definitely going to be a factor in the cost of living, in the finer points of that. So
where's your house?
To do. We've got awesome.
Can you go outside and wave? Right? Where's your house? Can you go outside and wave?
If you look close, you might see an extra moon on my patio. So
there's another guy that does the podcast besides Space Guys, Sock Cop. He lives in Alabama. He's the guy who runs a podcast called Sock Cop Live. It's like a guy dressed up as a muppet with a police hat and things like this. Space Guy watches him on YouTube.
Sock Cop?
Does anyone remember the show Cop Rock?
No,
Sock
but...
Cop means a sock with a police hat on. That's a podcast that Space Guy is a fan of.
That's my new favorite podcast. I've never seen it before. Sock Cop. I got one for you here. True story. Snakes on a plane, Imogen.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
South African pilot Rudolf Erasmus. I felt this little cold sensation underneath my shirt where my hip is situated. He probably doesn't talk like that. He's probably like, well, basically, when you got your little love handles, he probably talks more like that. I don't know. It was like a freaking Cape Cobra was under his seat. He felt the slithering stowaways. He's flying his private flight from Western Cape to the town of Nelspruit on Monday. And he looked down and he could see the head of the snake receding back underneath his seat.
That is terrifying.
He's had a moment of stunned silence, to be brutally honest. At which point there was a moment of stunned silence, to be brutally honest. I then informed my passengers of what was going on, but everybody remained calm.
Okay, so now he's an Australian hobbit?
I don't know.
What accent are you trying to do?
I'm just making a new one up every time.
He's a leprechaun, an angry leprechaun.
A Cape Cobra bite can kill someone in less than an hour. Both do that. Okay, so now we go to Cleveland, Ohio, where 2 men are accused of stuffing a fish with lead weights and fish fillet in an attempt to win thousands of dollars in an Ohio fishing tournament. That was last fall. They pleaded guilty this week to charges including cheating at the Lake Erie Walleye Trail Tournament. The fish turned in by Jacob Runyon of Broadview Heights, Ohio, and Chase Kaminsky of Heritage, Pennsylvania, were significantly heavier than typical walleye.
Yeah, they got a little greedy with their record setting trophy there. But
putting weights in their fish.
Yeah, not a good move, but a common one, and within reason, a lot of competitors actually do get away with it because they're not going overboard with the weights. But I guess these guys pushed it.
And now we go to England, where a man was arrested for trying to steal 200,000 Cadbury cream eggs. The 32-year-old man, Joby Poole, was stopped on a highway in Telford shortly after the theft. He allegedly used a metal grinder to break through the gate and steal a truck full of eggs. That was on Saturday, February 11th. In all, the chocolate seized was thought to be worth 40,000 British pounds, slightly more than $48,000 American.
There's actually, today I was reading about a cat that it's actually looks like this house cat is the world's oldest cat at 31 years old. A lot of house cats live to be in their mid-20s. This little guy, Ragdoll, I think her name is Rosie. Can't remember which news outlet I read it on, but if you Google world's oldest cat, this will probably pop up because she's making headlines today as being 31 for a kitty. That is so impressive. So impressive. And it's a hair cat. My little guy is hairless, so cats with hair are all hair cats, and it's a novelty to me. I don't hang out with a lot of hairy animals.
Oh, I got a good one here from this week that made me laugh pretty good. So, as you know, King Charles, he's like visiting somewhere in Germany, and this one fan came out and he had a Burger King crown on his head, and he tried to give that crown to King Charles because he didn't have a crown on. So,
okay, so the royal family has this weird little rule. They've got a lot of rules that they kind of live by, a lot of little mandates in their public conduct. But one of them is that they're not allowed to refuse a gift. So someone trying to gift him with a Burger King crown, he would have, by their own internal policies, been required to accept it.
yeah. There's a great photo of it too. It shows the guy taking his crown off his head and putting it on the king's head there.
Perfect.
Down in there, he's like, "What is this?"
Well, the royalty actually have several crowns. I forget how many it is now. There's quite a few, and they only wear them at certain ceremonies. They don't wear crowns all the time.
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed that they don't wear crowns all the time. It seems like it's rather unroyal to be walking around without a crown or a tiara or something.
On March 31st, a patient in Tarrytown, New York, stole an ambulance that had him taken to a New York City hospital and took it on a 25-mile joyride. But that ended when the state police used spike traps to stop him, authorities say. And in case Mexico is not dangerous enough for you, police are searching for a missing tiger stolen from a home in northern Mexico. So there's a tiger out there somewhere in Mexico. And
Someone's pet. Was it Mike Tyson's?
Mike Tyson, yeah, from Hangover.
You know what? Well, okay, to be fair, Mike Tyson legitimately did have pet tigers. He just referred to them as his kitties. But like, yeah, if you don't know anything about Mike Tyson, learn about him. He is a fascinating person. I wish he was my dad. Like, I love Mike Tyson. He's one of my favorite humans on the planet. I am, if it could be said, I'm a truly fanboy of anyone, Mike Tyson. He's just so awesome. He is fascinating in so many ways. And the kitties are just a minimal thing.
Is your therapist aware of this?
Everyone's aware of it. I am very open with my Mike Tyson love.
Frankie McDonald, why would somebody want to live in Greenland?
There's some odd people want to live in Greenland because it's part of Denmark. It's in the European Union at the same time. It's like a Scansion area.
I can tell you one reason you might want to live in Greenland. For now on, it's staying in daylight saving time forever.
If you want to live someplace where you don't change time, move to Dawson Creek, BC, where they have no daylight savings time. Alberta does on one side and the BC does on the other. So part of the year they're the same time as BC and part of the time with Alberta.
Holland. He lives in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. He doesn't have daylight savings time. Matthew Holland lives there.
What
New
else?
Zealand still has. New Zealand's daylight savings time came to an end last weekend.
Here's a new one for you. See if this explains anything. If this will make some things totally clear. Remember we were talking about Florida Man last time?
Yeah.
You know, how many Florida men are there? And why is there so many Florida men? Well, now it says, now we got news that Florida has the most lead pipes in the USA. Some 9.2 million people have lead pipes in their homes and feeding water to their homes.
That's, oh, yes.
So that would, yeah. There
I
you
guess
go. You have a whole state that's lead poisoned. No wonder the cops are arresting alligators there.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty wild. And it definitely makes some sense of some things. Now, to be fair, at one point I was doing security at a Walmart and I'm pretty sure I saw a whole swarm of Florida mans just like stomping around there. It was a bad neighborhood. We had to wear stab vests. It was legitimately a kind of rough placement for security. And it really had that Florida man vibe.
Well, that's where most Florida men are born, is at the Walmart hospital.
And born in Walmart.
Yeah, the Walmart hospital there they got in the States, you know.
Speaking of hospitals, something happened today. A moose walked into a hospital in Alaska. That's right.
Was it a doctor? Was it a doctor or a patient? Like, was he looking for someone or?
It was wanting to eat the plants inside the hospital.
Oh, okay. So he was there for the cafeteria.
Pretty much.
Food is legendarily bad, but you know it's not as bad as people think. And if it's moose approved, this is good. It means
okay. I'm going to show you something here. I don't know if we can show these videos or not because now we're like a TV show, and I don't know how this all works and all. But I'm going to show you at least what's on the internet, right? So, what was curious was the dates on these. January 8th, 2019, moose wanders into Alaskan hospital. Here's the same one. February 21st, 2012, moose caught on camera roaming in hospital in Alaska's.
Oh, wow.
And, how many is there? Moose wanders into hospital. So that's also the same ones.
Yeah.
That
was a really big one though, because several people were killed. So that's why it's all.
Why? Why was he killing people?
Here you go. July 25th, 2007. Moose checks into Alaska Regional Hospital.
Wow.
Hey, this is a security camera. We can look at this one, right?
Oh, yeah.
We'll find out later.
That's security footage. Yeah, there's no copyright problem with the security footage. So here's the moose. He's come in. He's got, which way is the emergency? How come no one's taught? Who knows where to go? How come I got to wait so long to see a doctor?
And here's a very confused patient. So For the radio listeners, what we're watching is security footage of a moose walking through the entrance to a hospital, taking a quick tour of the hallway while some very confused people poke their heads out of the rooms.
Well, he's
and
trying
watch
to,
a moose just walk
he's trying
by.
to get someone to help him with his worms. But so this is July 2016. So this is at least that guy comes out and takes. This is at least the third moose on the loose in a hospital in Alaska video so far. That's 3 occasions. So and this deadly attack from the moose on the loose there, we know that.
Ow. So the last one, he really looked like he was just looking for someone. Like he was just in to visit a friend.
Yeah, he came in the wrong door. He's trying to find a merge. Maybe what you could do, May 14th, 2020, hungry moose wanders in. So look at this. It just keeps happening and happening. And November 23rd, 2021, massive moose strolls through hospital. And anyway, so this, you kind of get the idea that maybe you should stop leaving plants in your dang doorways.
In Alaska.
Unless you want
attracting moose. This is why we can't have nice things. You want ants, you get ants. You want moose, you get moose.
Bob Holloway was suggesting that the moose, who's one of the moderators for Interior and Weather and Wilderness Watchers, that's where this all came from. Originally, Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers. It's a Facebook group I run in the center of BC here. It's got 15,200 people. Bob's one of our moderators. He asks, has the moose applied for medical bankruptcy yet? Of course, moose are not covered in America. They do not have Medicare for moose.
Well, I'll switch gears here. I'll talk about Prairie Girls Gala, the thing that happened there. The story that happened.
Yeah, rub it in some more.
So there's this clock above the bar. It's a very large clock. It's like the size of my window. And somebody got up on above the bar. They probably got up on a couple of chairs and they took the clock down from the hall and they took the clock home. But they didn't tell anybody they were taking the clock home. So the next day, everyone's writing in the group, someone stole the clock from the hall here. And if you can, bring it back. we don't want to have to pay for a new clock at the hall. So eventually someone writes in the comments there, oh yes, that was me. I thought that was a brilliant idea to take the clock home, but I found out it wasn't a very good idea. So I'll bring the clock by later this afternoon.
Wait, did they just not have a clock?
I don't know.
Or they need a souvenir from the Prairie Girls Gala?
That's what they wanted, yeah. Souvenir.
Was it one of the girls?
Yeah, it was one of them, yeah.
One of the women?
Yeah.
So she didn't get to take one of the boys home, so instead she took a clock home.
That's right. That's how it happened, yeah. It was once upon a time, there's clocks. It's probably wanted it for her costume, and decided to take the clock home. Probably, I think she took it to the Brooks Hotel as well. So she took it around town for a little stroll. The big clock at the Tilly Hall there.
One way or the other, she was getting the seed.
Give some of them Karens a little bit of wine and watch your clocks.
That's right.
Right. What about wrestling, Brandon? This week, Brandon Houck went to WrestleMania to give a weather report. Here's Brandon Houck at WrestleMania.
We're here at the Can-Am wrestling event. Get ready for the wrestling match, which, I'd say begin the next half hour or so. So let's get ready to rumble.
Making their way to the ring, they weigh in tonight at 376 3/4 pounds. Introducing first, from Kitchener, Ontario, Joshua Kirby. And his partner this evening, from Humboldt, Saskatchewan, the Straight Jacket Assassin, Davey Disaster.
A puddle, everybody. Absolutely lovely. 10-degree temperatures again today. And look what we've got over here. Little bit of convection. Trying to get this act together here. Nothing too serious. We do have some pretty impressive showers right around the Lethbridge and Nanton area. Keep an eye on this activity as well. Looks like that wants to produce a bit of a shower here in the next few hours. And some areas, we cannot rule out that isolated lightning strike into the early evening. Now, tonight, oh boy. So this area from Brooks to the Cypress Hills is going to be highly variable to, or kind of more acceptable for convective snowfall to really start to ramp up tonight. And we have a winter storm warning that's been issued for the Cypress Hills area, where we could be up to 10 to 20 centimeters of snow, plus winds gusting 80 kilometers an hour tonight into Sunday morning. For us, we'll probably be about 5 to 10 centimeters of snow late tonight, so probably beginning after midnight and then persisting into Sunday. So tomorrow's going to be a much different day compared to today. But look at this. We've got a shower right there. You can see there's a rain curtain there, and there's a rain curtain over there. Spring.
Let's go back on the corner, quick break, come on. What?
Well, wisdom for insight, they have
to.
Well, we have intercepted this little shower, and I can confirm we've got some snow pellets. Ow! That one went right into my eye there. So there we are, some snow pellets in this little convective shower pushing through the area. And how you can tell these are like snow pellets here, they bounce off your sleeve compared to the actual snowflake that we're kind of used to. Yes, so fairly convective, and this thing is pushing in quite rapidly here. And you can see this convective shower, especially off in the southwest, is a lot more intense. So I could expect this snow shower activity to get pretty intense here in the next half hour or so. This is, I wouldn't call this hail. No, that is not hail. That is way too soft for it to be hail. So, now, we're watching this guy to the south as well. That one looks a little more promising. Might produce a lightning bolt. We'll keep an eye on that one. This one, I don't think so. It's more of a nimbostratus cloud, this guy here, but still highly convective. And you can see these little snow pellets hitting me right. I'll show you. Yeah, they're bouncing off me pretty good here.
Instead of like, ee, they'll be like, right?
Sarcasm is a catch-all term that can be used to refer to more than 300 species of brown algae, brother. Brother!
I didn't know that.
When adrift at sea, the algae can have upsides for ocean life. Yeah. The floating habitat provides food and protection for fishes, mammals, marine birds, crabs, and more. Yeah.
Gaming disaster! Your supreme big icon, the fabulous Kidney Roberts!
Miss Elizabeth, tell me more about the sargasm. Yeah.
Say hi, Joey Only.
How's it going?
Say hi, Joey Only.
Hi, Joey.
I'm Frank Down. You're listening to Comedy Meteorology Report every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. Joey Only's a really nice guy. He fights fires in Wells, British Columbia. Joey Only is a Caribou editor, comedian plus meteorology. It's on the CFUR 88.7 FM Prince George, CKUW 95.9 FM in Winnipeg, and CFBX 92.5 FM in Kamloops, British Columbia. Joey Only's a really nice guy. He fights fires in Wells, British Columbia. Joey Only's a really nice guy. I'm on the show every Thursday night at 11 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's on Shaw TV, it's on Shaw Spotlight TV all across Canada. Joey Only's a really nice guy. He fights fires in Wells, British Columbia. Joey Only's a really, really nice guy. He fights fires, and he used to work for Vancouver Giants back in the day. Joey Only is a Caribou editor, comedian plus meteorology. It's on his YouTube channel. Joey Only has a podcast, Comedian plus Meteorology. It's on his YouTube channel every Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. Best luck to you. I'm Frank Down. You're watching the Comedy Meteorological Report every Thursday night. And on at 11 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Say hi, Joey Only.
Hi, Joey Only.
Oh yes, the wrestling. That was awesome too. I got up on the podium there. I gave you an award for the best wrestler. I forget the guy's name because it's a Kiki name. I think that's what his name was. I forget the name, but anyways, he won.
It was like a bunch of names too. It was like Kiki Jones Jr. Johnson.
Yeah, they're not their real names. I know that for sure, but it's their wrestling names. But
What, you're saying it was fake?
oh no, it was not fake. They really went at it, and the kids in front of us, they were chirping them the whole time. And, oh man, that was fun. I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to enjoy it. I was like, oh, yeah, wrestling. And then they started going at each other, and I was like, this is actually enjoyable as I'm sipping my.
Awesome.
I wouldn't be able to handle it. I'd have to just grab a chair and start beating guys,
That's the fun
Like,
of
it's
wrestling.
too much fun. I can't watch this.
Yeah. Live wrestling is awesome. It's so much fun. It's ridiculous. You never expect to have as much fun as you do. The characters are great. The weird bad acting, the terrible storylines. It's all delightful.
It was awesome. And then this weekend I'm going to ChaserCon Canada, so it's not going to be as wild as wrestling in the Prairie Girls, but it's going to be a great event. Oh
It
yes,
will be a little bit wild, though. I bet you it'll be wild moments. I know those. The storm chasers aren't. Not all the storm chaser people are typical of average humans.
Well, there's a chance there might be a few that have a bit of a headache that day on the Saturday. I think.
we are known as adrenaline junkies. That's what they tend to call us, storm people.
Yeah. And especially that media panel. I think that one's going to get a little bit on the wild side. Oh yeah. It will be.
So if you missed the episode we had a few weeks ago, Tracy Dick and Chris Ratzlaff on, who are part of ComediCon, ChaserCon, Comedeorological Report is what we call that one, right? They're the organizers for ChaserCon, and if you want to watch our episode on that, just go to Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude on YouTube and scroll back a little bit and look down, and you will find ChaserCon Comedeorology, and that was a great episode of sharing weather stories of all sorts, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was, and we'll have a lot of weather stories this weekend to talk about. That's for sure.
It's going to be one hell of a nerd out.
Yep, we're just going to sit there and nerd out. That's exactly what we're going to do in beautiful old Alberta.
That's great. So, Frankie McDonald, any last words for you this week?
If you want to follow my social media, my Twitter is @FrankieMacD. My Facebook is Frankie MacDonald. My Instagram is FrankieMacD984. My TikTok is FrankDown984. My Clapper is FrankDown984. My Twitch is FrankDown984. My Snapchat is Frankie MacDon. My LinkedIn is Frankie MacDonald. And my YouTube channel is Dogs and Wolves. Happy Easter, everyone, including Joey Only and listeners of Joey Only Show. Happy Easter, everybody, and have a great Easter. And if Base Guy gets their power back tomorrow, and if the Base Guy has power, all you guys will see me on Base Guy Show tomorrow at Friday, April 7th, 2023 at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be doing a tarot reading for a dog, and my dog video just hit 95,000 plays on TikTok. So I'm very happy about that. So I get to spend some time with dogs. I know, awesome dogs.
Okay.
That's my final words. Is I get dogs.
How about you, Hilding? Last word.
Well, we're just hoping that this snow that's called for isn't too bad, because we're in the middle of calving here and we got little calves that don't want to get too wet and sloppy. So we'll think about them next week. I'm hoping to have a few videos of that.
Any last words? Well, I guess have a stormy weekend.
Last word, gazebo.
Yeah, look at that. A little bit of rotation there. So we got down in that's Birmingham, that's Alabama, eh? So maybe some tornado activity going on tonight in Alabama. All our friends down there in the States, be safe and keep your eye on the weather always. And everyone in Canada, keep your eye on the weather.
That's where the podcast or sock cop lives.
Yeah, there may be a few less Sams in America if this touches down. So everyone beware. All 52,000 Sams. Hello from the Comedeorological Report. I'm Joey Only up here. Find the show on Joey Only Caribbean Weather Dude. Thanks, Shaw Cable, Shaw Spotlight. Thank you, CFBX, CFUR, CKUW, and thank you everybody on the YouTube. We'll see you next week, everybody. Bye now.